Oké. Ehm, Bedankt voor het komen naar ons interview. Wat is je naam?
Ik ben Justus Jellema.
Oké. Nou, we beginnen gelijk met de eerste vraag. Wat waren jouw redenen om naar Nederland te verhuizen?
Ja, ik heb in Duitsland gewoond. En ja, eigenlijk mijn hele leven al lang. En mijn ouders zijn op een gegeven moment gaan scheiden. En toen is mijn vader dus in Duitsland gebleven. En mijn moeder, die al Nederlands is, die had dus al veel werkervaring in Nederland. Dus wist ze al waar we naartoe konden gaan. En wist het allemaal wel een beetje. En ze kon al de taal spreken. Dus het was allemaal voordelen om naar Nederland te gaan. En daardoor zijn we dus in Nederland verhuisd voor het werk eigenlijk van mijn moeder.
Oké. Nou, je zei dus al dat je moeder al Nederlands kon, maar was het lastig voor jou om nog Nederlands te leren of kun je dat ook al?
Nou, mijn moeder heeft soms wel met me Nederlands gepraat toen ik in Duitsland woonde, maar dat waren maar een paar woordjes, dus ik heb het eigenlijk pas geleerd toen ik in Nederland kwam wonen. En ja, dat viel eigenlijk wel mee hoe lastig het was.
Oké. Wat is jouw mening over Nederlandse cultuur? Vind je leuk en wat is je favoriete?
Ehm, ja, ik vind het eigenlijk wel leuk. Het lijkt er wel een beetje op, maar ja, het zijn altijd wel heel veel verschillen tot het Duitse. Ik vind het echt wel leuk. Ja, ik vind het wel leuker dan in Duitsland.
Oké. Wat is een van de grootste verschillen die je hebt gemerkt tussen de Nederlandse en Duitse cultuur?
In Duitsland zijn de mensen heel anders tegen je. Ja, ze zijn gewoon niet zo spraakzaam als in Nederland. In Nederland is het meer dat je dan gelijk aardig bent tegen mensen die je niet echt kent. En dat
Ja.
soort. Ja,
Oké.
dat doe je in Duitsland allemaal niet.
Ehm, Zou je liever terug willen gaan naar Duitsland of vind je het hier wel prima?
Ik vind het hier eigenlijk wel prima. Want ik vind de school is hier veel beter. In Duitsland leer je allemaal veel mindere dingen. Veel minder dingen. Hier is het gewoon allemaal veel beter geregeld. Ja, dat vind ik dan eigenlijk wel prettiger om dan hier te blijven wonen.
Ehm, wat vind jij zelf van migranten en eh, andere mensen die hier ook wonen?
Ja, ik vind het niet erg. Ik vind het wel dat je dan nieuwe mensen kan leren kennen. Ja, dat is eigenlijk wel prettig. Maar ik heb er niet echt een oordeel over of iets.
Voel je jezelf ook een migrant of is het meer dat je nu echt een Nederlander bent?
Ik voel me eigenlijk wel meer een Nederlander nu. Ja, want mijn moeder is dus wel Nederlands. Ik ben eigenlijk Duits. Ik ben nu echt. Ik heb dus tot ik 12 jaar was in Duitsland gewoond. En daar heb ik eigenlijk al alles over Duitsland geleerd, zo alles, de taal. En toen ik in Nederland kwam, heb ik het allemaal in een paar jaar alles gewoon geleerd over Nederland. En ja, dat vind ik Nederland wel prettig. Ja.
Ja, voor mij waren het al
Ja.
vragen. Bedankt voor dit interview.
Alsjeblieft, graag gedaan.
Fijne dag. Thank you for coming today. I want to ask you some questions about voting for about voting for migrants.
Yes?
Would you like to tell us your name?
Yes, of course. Yeah, thanks for the invite. My name is Marco Schoenmaker, and I'm a teacher at Farel College.
Did you ever vote? Did you vote every time since you got the right to vote?
Yeah, thinking that's already many years ago. But I, at least for the national elections, yes, I have voted for each national election since I was eligible to vote. Yes.
Okay. Did you think of migrants while you voted for a certain party, or?
You mean when I started voting or recently?
Throughout the year? Did you start thinking more about voting for migrants in the recent years, or?
That's a very good question. So I'm 52, so I'm eligible to vote for 18 years, so 34 years. So when I started voting back in the 80s, 90s, migration was not a topic at all. And I've always voted the same party. I'm a real liberal person. So I've always voted for VVD. Which means migration is not really my main topic, to be honest. It's more about economy, it's about people, it's about society. So it is not really determining my choice. However, as you probably know, VVD has some policies on their perspective on migration, and I support those.
Okay. Well, what are your thoughts on migration overall?
Can you be a little bit more specific about what you mean by migration? Because there's many reasons why I migrate, and you know, I've worked with, in my professional career, with people from all across the world.
What do you think of people coming to the Netherlands and just general thoughts of what you like about it, or just what could be bad for economy or anything? Any specific thoughts on that?
Well, let's say my main thing is, as my liberal point of view, you're very welcome here. All the opportunities are here, but you need to take the opportunities by yourself. So you need to take responsibility. There's plenty of work, plenty of opportunities. So if you take your chance, perfectly fine with that. If you learn the language, excellent. I think also if you adopt to the norms and values, our culture, if you want to integrate into our culture, perfectly fine. Great at that. As said, I've worked with people from all across the world, here in the Netherlands, but also in other countries. However, that's maybe then the other side. If you say, hey, the Netherlands, you need to take me, and I'm not going to do anything, I'm not going to integrate, or not going to learn the language, I might find that challenging. Then my question would be, why are you then actually here? What is your purpose of being here? So if you have a valuable contribution, great. If that's questionable, then I also have questions about migration.
Okay.
Do you get my point?
Yeah, you have to qualify to be here, and if you don't qualify, you have to be able to add something for yourself.
Maybe to add value, and value can be very broad, but that's my opinion.
Okay. Would you like to migrate to another country yourself one day?
I thought about it years ago when I did not have kids. Actually, I had the chance to. I was asked for a company to go to Switzerland. 20 years ago, I decided not to do because I got a better job actually in the Netherlands. But I thought about it. I've always been open. I said I've worked for many years also abroad, but that was just, let's say, on a part-time basis. Me, flying during the week to another country, working there, and flying back in the weekend, or stay there for a couple of weeks, and then flying back to the Netherlands. So I thought about it. But maybe if my kids, I have two daughters, they're already in the follow-up school, high school, but maybe if they leave home in a couple of years, and when I retire, I might actually move to another place in Europe. Thinking about moving to the mountains, actually, maybe to Italy.
Yeah, it sounds nice.
Yes, it is.
So, what are your thoughts on German people migrating to the Netherlands?
Yeah, that's a good question. I've had many colleagues from Germany in the past, so I'm very used to working with people from Germany. But the interesting question is, you don't really see them as migrants, to be honest. They're pretty much the same as the Dutch, as we are. However, they're a bit more formal. They're really like, formal structures, hierarchy. But in general, from a working perspective, basically they have the same norms and values. They appreciate good communication, working together, clear instructions, getting it done. So I've always really liked working with German people. That's maybe also an interesting view on migration. They look like the Dutch.
Yeah.
And it also helped actually that I speak German also very well. And so it helps from a communication perspective, so that you can understand each other easily.
Okay, so you just like the way they work, think those were all the questions. Yeah. Thank you for coming and.
Well, very welcome, and thanks for the interview.
You're welcome.
First of all, thank you for coming to our interview. We're going to ask you a few questions about migration, especially about people migrating from Germany. What's your name?
My name is Loes Akay.
Loes Akay. Okay. What is the main reason for people to migrate to the Netherlands?
Well, I work as a teacher of Dutch as a second language, so I have students from all over the world. They come mainly as asylum seekers because they're refugees, or they come here to work. For example, people from Poland, and the children, they come with their parents and they have to go to school. Or they come here because they fell in love with a Dutch person and they want to settle here and get married.
Okay. How many people in Germany do you see on a day-to-day basis? Or how many people do you help from Germany?
From Germany? None really.
No?
Most of my students come from, countries at war, for example, Iraq or Afghanistan or Iran or Syria, Eritrea. And some come from Western European countries, but, I don't have any from Germany at the moment.
Okay, that's interesting. Do you think the people who immigrate to the Netherlands are supposed to have a few qualifications to live here?
You mean on a permanent basis?
Yeah, we want to just live here and get a house and job and everything.
Well, I think it depends. I think because Holland has signed some refugee treaty, they are obliged to accept refugees, and refugees are not always very successful immigrants because, they have problematic backgrounds sometimes. So I wouldn't say that all immigrants should have certain qualifications, but immigrants who come to work here, you could certainly ask specific qualifications from them because they come here out of free will.
And what happens if they... Yeah, in a way. But what happens when they don't meet all those qualifications?
Well, I don't know how the law is exactly at the moment, but I thought that if you come from, if you're from the European Union, you can actually go and live everywhere, can't you? Because there are no boundaries, no borders, so I don't think you can ask anything from them, really.
Are the jobs here? In what way are the jobs here better than the jobs in the countries that the refugees and migrants came from?
Sorry, can you repeat the question? I didn't hear all of it.
In what way are the jobs here better, or are they even better than in the countries that the migrants or the refugees came from?
Well, in general, the biggest difference I see is that in the Netherlands you need a diploma or a certificate for any job. Even to do a cleaning job, you need some kind of certificate or education. And people, for example, also to be a hairdresser, you need a diploma. And lots of people, for example, from the Middle East don't understand that, because in the Middle East you can become a hairdresser if you're good at cutting people's hair, and you don't need a diploma or anything. You just need to show that you can do it. So in the Netherlands everything is very bureaucratic. So to have a job, patient.
So it's a lot harder for migrants as well than from the...
Yeah, they don't have a diploma because their language is not good enough. So, that's a big problem.
Yeah. Um, what is your general experience with migrants? Do you, um, do you have any specific stories of migrants that you remember, or is there any specific person that?
Oof. Well, I've been teaching Dutch as a second language for 18 years now. First to adults, and the last 12 years to young people from 12 to 18. So there are many, many, many stories. What I always find really impressive is when people, for example, who don't know how to read and write, and you might think, oh well, they are. It's useless. We can't learn them and teach them anything. But some of them are really hidden gems, and they can actually learn very much because they've never had the opportunity to learn. And if they're actually quite intelligent, they can be very successful. So those stories stay with me because they're very special.
That sounds nice. I think that's most of the questions.